To the Stephen A. Smith Show, coming at you as I love to do every weekday over the airways of ESPN Radio and ESPN News. 250 plus markets across the United States of America, plus ESPN Radio on Sirius XM Channel 80, plus ESPN Radio simulcast over the live national television airways of ESPN News. Number to call up as always is 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. The Stephen A. Smith Show on the road is being presented by Progressive Insurance. It's live from Atlanta for coverage of the big game. That would be Super Bowl 53 this Sunday evening. It's time for Straight Talk, brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless, best phones, best networks, no contracts. My apologies to those out there. I don't sound like myself. I feel great. I'm not sick or anything like that. I just lost my damn voice. I've done literally about 27 different interviews over the last 36 hours. So because of that, my voice is a little bit shot, but I'm here and I'm going to plug on through. The great Jerry Rice will be on the show with us in just a minute or so. I wanted to stay, before he comes on the show, wanted to let everybody in New York know that I'm going to touch on this Kristaps Porzingis trade at some point because here's the deal. A lot of people are getting on the New York Knicks, and you've gotten pundits and everybody talk about New York Knicks and getting the pass. Let's be very, very clear. The New York Knicks suck. Okay? Let me be very, very clear for those that think that somehow, some way I pull punches. I believe in Steve Mills, and I believe in Scott Perry, and I believe the future in which they're trying to take this franchise into. But the Knicks stink, and they have stunk. And that's why I'm so supportive of this move. Because if a guy like Kristaps Porzingis comes to you and tells you, I don't want to be here. If you try to keep me here and you don't trade me, I'm going to sign a qualifying offer. And the qualifying offer mandated by the league's collective bargaining rule stipulates that you can only sign for 1 year. And after that 1 year, you are an unrestricted free agent. You essentially strip the team that you're on of all the leverage that they have for you. So in order for the New York Knicks to maximize the value that they have for Kristaps Porzingis, they had to make a move now because you didn't want to keep him on board, telling you he wanted out, essentially indicating to you that he was going to let prospective free agents know that he wanted out, and I'd advise you not to come here as well. You can't let somebody like that stay on your team when you're trying to attract a marquee free agent in the offseason, which is why you turn around, you move him, you create $75 million in cap space, giving you enough dollars to get 2 max players, and it puts you in the running to compete with the Brooklyn Nets, to compete with the Los Angeles Clippers, to compete with teams like the Lakers, the Dallas Mavericks, and others for the marquee free agents out there. It's the only chance you have. Now, does it work? Hell no. It doesn't work until you get those free agents. The New York Knicks are on the clock. They're under immense pressure to get something for losing Porzingis. But understand, they had no choice, in my estimation, because the man didn't want to stay there. He wasn't going to stay there, and nobody was going to come if they had to come by themselves to join the New York Knicks and to be the successor to Porzingis instead of playing alongside Porzingis. That's why you had to let him go. But I'll get into all of that a little bit more as the show progresses right here. Stephen A. Smith Show, ESPN Radio. What the hell he's saying right now, if you're not willing to admit that you just have a personal affinity for the San Francisco 49ers, why the hell would you suggest that Antonio Brown needs to be there? I got to state this for the record before I get back to Porzingis. I'm really sick and tired of this love porn star Jimmy gets. That's right. I said Jimmy Garoppolo. That's right. I said, did I stutter? Porn star Jimmy. That's what I called him. And, let me give y'all an inside joke because it's Mickey Mouse. ESPN is Walt Disney. So, they own us. So it's Mickey Mouse. And everybody's always in an uproar. My producer just, this dude, my producer right over there, Jonathan Winter, one of the wildest dudes you'd ever want to meet in your life. But I say porn star Jimmy, and his face cringes. Ooh, ooh, ooh. He's timid with it. The producers back in Bristol, Connecticut, New York, L.A., everything. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Excuse me. Jimmy Garoppolo went out with a porn star in Hollywood, knowing that the paparazzis and the cameras, everybody, were there. He knew that. And he went out there anywhere. What a porn star. Now, I'm not hating on him. I don't have a problem with that. To each his own. But what I'm trying to say is that we didn't hesitate to say he was out with a porn star. And the so what's wrong with me calling them porn star Jimmy? What's wrong with that? I'm not changing that. It's gonna, if I change it, it's gonna be executive orders from the top. Because guess what? It's accurate. If you go out with a porn star before you threw a damn pass, for a particular season anyway, all right, and you're more recognized for that date than you are for any damn touchdown passes you threw in the season because you got hurt in game 2, well, damn it, the reason why you're relevant is that you're porn star Jimmy. So I don't see the problem. Then I'm not a part. And by the way, to Jimmy Garoppolo and the family of Jimmy Garoppolo, it is not an insult. You understand? To each his own. Young single man, good-looking dude, can quarterback, protege, working behind Tom Brady, clearly has some skills. Bill Belichick wanted to keep you. You were 7-0 in your first 7 starts as a quarterback. Haven't been able to stay healthy. Got hurt in New England. Got hurt when you got to San Francisco. After you got $137 million, by the way. And oh, by the way, he went out with the porn star after he got the $137 million contract. Not before. So it wasn't like she was out with porn star Jimmy before he got paid. But that's neither here nor there. The point is it happened. And that's okay. So I just wanted to say that, okay? And for those out there that are younger and all of that other stuff, adult film star. Does that sound better? I like porn star Jimmy, though. It works. Anyway, back to Porzingis. You know, there's a bigger story going on here that everybody needs to pay attention to when it comes to the NBA. What you have is a situation, you got to remember, when LeBron James elected to leave Cleveland to go to Miami, say what you will about him, but he was a free agent. He spent the first 7 years of his career in Cleveland. He wanted a different experience. He went to South Beach on his own after he served his time in Cleveland. He went to Miami. He gave them 4 years, got them to 4 straight NBA Finals appearances, won 2 championships, elected to take his services back to Cleveland. But he was already a free agent, okay? Whether we like it or not, he did his time. He honored his commitment. When he was free to go elsewhere, that's what he did. That's not what's happening now. That's not what happened with Carmelo Anthony when he forced his way out of Denver. That's not what happened. That's what's happening, or what happened with Kyrie Irving when he forced his way out of Cleveland. That's not what happened with Anthony Davis now, who's trying to force his way out of New Orleans. And so what you have is, if you think for 1 second that this is about the Lakers and the Lakers getting an Anthony Davis, for example, you're missing the boat. This is about the NBA with various teams in various small markets collaborating with one another in an effort to try to influence the New Orleans Pelicans to stop them from shipping him to LA. Because if you capitulate to those demands, to a guy that is a superstar but is under contract for the next year and a half, you've completely depleted and wiped out the power that a team has to hold you to your contract. That's why when Kawhi Leonard wanted to leave San Antonio, Greg Popovich and the Spurs sent them out of the country to Toronto. They said, you can go to LA if you want to, but it's not going to be through our hands. It's going to be through somebody else's hands, because we're not giving you that power. And they're encouraging New Orleans to not give Anthony Davis that power. The New York Knicks capitulating and giving away Porzingis, in a lot of people's eyes, they caved. And that's what people have a problem with. I think the difference with the New York Knicks is that it's to their disadvantage, or it would have been to their disadvantage, to keep Porzingis. Because if he signed a qualifying, he basically went into the room, ladies and gentlemen, and said, if you keep me, I'm going to sign a qualifying offer. That qualifying offer, which would happen to happen this summer, is a 1-year deal. After you sign the qualifying offer, you are an unrestricted free agent, free to go elsewhere the following year without them getting any compensation whatsoever. They couldn't risk that. particularly approaching a free agent summer this year where they were trying to get a marquee player to come. Because you were willing to stand there and say, I don't want to be here and y'all shouldn't want to come either because this ain't the place to be. They couldn't have him there, particularly if he was in a position to sign a qualifying offer, which he says he would have done. So that's where you have your problem. They had to get rid of him. New Orleans doesn't have to do that with Anthony Davis. New Orleans can sit there and stand pat and say, we're going to wait till the summer because there's a host of other teams that want him and may offer us a boatload for his services. Why should we just give in to what the Lakers want with 10 days notice before the NBA trading deadline expires when we can buy ourselves a few months, wait until the summer, and see what you got to offer us? That's the difference. So Porzingis and Anthony Davis is not the same, but both situations have raised the antennas of league owners throughout those small markets in the NBA who says we don't like caving to these big market teams. Something has to be done. So it's not just Anthony Davis against the Pelicans. It's Anthony Davis against every small market team in the NBA who wants to stop him to send a message that you cannot ignore your contractual obligation to us. And on top of that, he's a young brother. So you're a young brother wielding that kind of power. You got billionaire white owners that don't like that. That's the real story going on in the NBA. And guess what? I side with the billionaire white owners. And I'm going to explain to y'all why in just a minute. Stick around. You're listening live to the Stephen A. Smith Show, ESPN Radio, ESPN News. Ryan Clark, Sal Palantonio, the heavyweight champion of the world, Deontay Wilder. All of them are coming up on the Stephen A. Smith Show right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN News. That was Straight Talk Wireless nationwide coverage on America's largest and most dependable 4G LTE networks. By the way, do you have frequent heartburn? Like the kind where you have an acid stashed everywhere in case it pops up? You know what I mean. You keep some in your bag or your desk or your car or your nightstand. You have those chalky tablets ready for whenever and wherever heartburn strikes. Well, listen up. There's an easier way to deal with your heartburn. That's Prilosec OTC. Just one pill a day will last a full 24 hours with zero heartburn. So kick your antacid habit. It's possible with Prilosec OTC. Use as directed for 14 days to treat frequent heartburn, not for immediate relief. Back to your calls and more in a minute, and I'll break down to you why those white billionaire owners are not wrong. I'll explain in just a minute. Don't touch that dial. You're listening live. Stephen A., ESPN Radio, ESPN News.
Craving even more of Stephen A.?
Him of all people.
For around-the-clock access to the man?
I'm Stephen A.
You can follow him on Twitter and Instagram at Stephen A. Smith and on Facebook at Stephen A.